Thank you. Presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) Atiku Abubakar and the Labour Party Peter Obi on Monday flagged the federal government over the insecurity and economic crisis confronting the nation, stating that Nigeria possessed all the negative indices that qualified it as a failed state. The two candidates unanimously agreed that 2023 is Nigeria's decisive year, noting that the election is critical to the country's existence. Meanwhile, Atiku and Obi spoke at the ongoing 62nd Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association in Lagos. Also at the event was Vice Presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Shettima, who represented his principal Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Onto this, he urged Nigerians to vote for their joint ticket because of their achievement as governors in Lagos and the Borno State. Governor Solomon Lalong and Godwin Obaseki of Plateau and Edo State, respectively, equally attended the conference. Onto this, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayede Ariwola, Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and the popular author Chimamanda Achide and the other speakers advocated the reform of the Nigerian judiciary in order to position the country on the path of transformational changes. Onto this, in his remark, Atiku observed that the country is more disunited today than it had ever been since democracy took root in 1999, noting that Nigeria had never found itself in such a very critical situation in this history. Speaking on the theme, bold transitions in the 21st century as far as our country is concerned, he submitted that Nigeria had all the negative indices, adding that the nation had never experienced the current level of poverty, insecurity, and unemployment. He also stated saying that since the return of democracy in 1998-1999, Nigeria has never found itself in such a very, very critical point in our history. Today, he further said, we have had all the negative index. Today, we all disunited in the nation. We have never experienced this level of poverty. We have never experienced this state of insecurity. We have never experienced this level of unemployment. We have never, he said, reconciled all these negative developments in our history. Meanwhile, he added that the important thing was to tackle the challenges. He further stated saying this is where history and experience beckon to us that we don't get it wrong at this point in time. If we get it wrong, he said, I don't know when we will get it right, he noted. An online newspaper, The Cable, reported as well that ex-vice president revealed that he would hand over the federal universities to states if he was elected president. According to the report, Atiku said his administration reforms would involve creating an enabling environment for foreign and local investors. The reforms, he said, will further explain would include healthcare and education because the state alone cannot bring about development. He stated one of the fundamental reforms I have, he said, in my policy document is to encourage the private sector as far as the development of the country is concerned, both foreign and local. It is very essential because the federal government does not have the resources to do all the things that they want to do. This is coming from the desk of Atiku. Powers devolution, shedding more light on these plans. He started saying that the only way to do or to make sure that a conducive environment and enabling environment able for the local and foreign investors to participate in the development of our country, whether it is infrastructure, education, and healthcare, Atiku Abubakar said. I had an argument with a university professor from Federal University Lokoja. He said he read in my policy document that I intended to devolve, in other words, to return education to the states. How dare I do that? I said, Mr. Professor, do you realize that the first set of our universities belongs to the regional government? He said yes. I said, who are the resources or the sources of the regional government? He said the states. I said, the children you send to America or England, who own those universities? Mostly the private sector. So why is it that you think we cannot do it here? We don't have the money. Atiku posted on his Twitter page on Monday that he was at the NBA conference to give lawyers insight into his bold policy, which he said embodies unity, security, economy, education, and devolution of power of states and local governments in the state. The Labour Party presidential candidate on today's Obi, in his remarks, said the election will not be about tribe, religion, connection, incitement, but it must be about competence, capacity, and commitment to deliver. Obi said that Nigeria needs urgent transition from being a highly insecure country to a secured one, and from a disunited country to a united one. He added, Nigeria has qualified to be a first state. We have the two or three biggest characteristics of a failed state. One is when you are no longer in charge of your territory. Obi continued to say that today we are among the top terrorized countries in the world. We are among the top kidnapping countries in the world. Banditry has taken over part of the country and Nigerians are being killed. He called on Nigerians to elect the candidate who or with the capacity to rescue the nation from its current mess. Obi continued to say that Nigeria is in a mess. We got here simply because of the accumulative effort of bad leadership. The coming election, he said, is not about tribe or religion, but about character and competence. Obi continued to say that we need a bold transition from a highly insecure state to a highly secure state. Alright. APC running mate Shettima pointed out that his principal would relocate at the federal level the feat he recorded in Lagos when he was the governor. Shettima on today said they would hit the ground running if elected into office come 2023. Onto this, in his speech titled Democratic Transition in 21st Century Nigeria 2023 and beyond, the APC vice presidential candidate stressed that Tinubu is the man to beat because of his skill set. He continued said, I urged and aligned with the APC candidate because of his competence and performance. This he affirmed. The vice presidential candidate said as governor of Borno State, he facilitated the construction of the best school in the country. Meanwhile, Nigerians have the ability and the capability to see through the veil, through the worn-out ironic and the sophistry of pretentious politicians, he said in a valid attack on his opponent. Nigerians should follow the man who knows the way and who will do the best to the state. Onto this, my very own people, a lot of reaction has been attracted as Shettima asked the NBA delegates to make an informed decision in changing the negative of leadership in the 2023 general election, saying his principal is the man to beat. He urged lawyers, meanwhile, to choose a leader that has established record, stating that he had mentored men and women. Adiche on horses. The guest speaker at the conference, Achide, in her keynote addressed and stressed, saying that the country was in disarray and needed heroes to save it. Chimamanda Achide speaking at the event. She said Nigeria is in disarray, things are hard and getting harder by the day. She further said, "We can be safe when there is no rule of law. Nigerians are starved by heroes to look up to." Onto this, late Dora Akunyili and Gani Gawalahimi, who were heroes that Nigerians looked up to before now. Unfortunately, that era has gone. I believe that NBA, she said, is in a position to give the nation heroes that we can look up to lead the nation. Stressing the imperative of justice, the author of Half of a Yellow Sun and other books further said, as long as we refuse to undergo the knot of injustice, peace cannot strive. If we don't talk about it, we fail to hold leaders accountable, and we turn what should be transparent system into ugly apog courts. Alright, my wonderful people, she submitted saying that many people who have abused their position in Nigeria would regard the NBA as troublesome. Adije called for an incorruptible justice, saying that he advised that the NBA to leverage technology in the judicial process and the administration of justice in the country. Alright, my wonderful people. Meanwhile, a lot of pressure has this been attracted. Meanwhile, the presidential candidates of the Social Democratic Party, Adewale Adeboyo, lamented that the country's crude oil was being stolen by the government. Adebayo advised the conference participants to be suspicious of every statistic being given. The presidential candidate of the African Democratic Party and All Progressive Grand Alliance, Mr. Dumebi Kachiko, and the retired Justice Peter Amadi also spoke at the conference. Earlier, Justice Eriwala, who was represented by the Chief Judge of Lagos State, Justice Kazim Alaba, said that the bar and bench must return to the days when the ethnics of the legal profession was upheld and enforced. He further said that the justice sector is very important to the survival of Nigeria. So, all stakeholders, he said, must ensure that it is protected and provided upon so it can continue to provide hope for the masses. Also speaking at the conference, which was over 13,000 delegates in the attendance, Sanwo-Olu said that the state's judicial system has upheld the legacy of the past administration in the improvement of the legal practice. Onto this, my wonderful people, the governor, who was represented by the State Attorney General, Moyo Sore Onibanjo, stated, "We have continually transformed our structure, building new courtrooms, and renovating existing ones to create a more conducive environment for our judges and to efficiently administer justice." Well, my wonderful people, that has been on today's. As Atiku, Obi, Islam federal government, Shettima sells Tinubu's candidacy. Everything negative, situation pathetic, worst ever. PDP Labour Party presidential candidate. Alright, that is coming right from that desk. Well, let me have your take onto this. There's nothing more to say rather than to wait, see, and hear your comment. Remember to send them and do well to share and subscribe for more updates. Thanks and God bless.